All right, so this is question 5 of the practice test. We only have one class here, right? It's just the driver class. So let's go ahead into the main method and just start running some lines of code, right? So in this first line here, it looks like we are declaring a string array. It's called names. So let's go ahead and denote that here. We have this array called names, and it holds 3 strings, right? That's 0, 1, 2. Okay. On the next line, we declare a variable called I, right? And we initialize it to 0. So I is equal to 0. Okay. What are we doing in this enhanced for loop, right? Well, it looks like we are creating a local variable called name, and it's going to sort of look through the names array, right? What does it do off the start, right? Um, it sort of it goes to the first index of this array, copies the value into name, this variable called name, right? And then it just runs these lines, right? So what am I copying into this local variable? Well, it's empty, right? So I'm either copying null or I'm copying some garbage value. That's neither here nor there though, because we're about to reassign it anyways, right? So this local variable name is going to be given a new string called s. Now remember, this is a local variable that isn't actually tied to the array. The only relationship that name has with this array called names is that at the start of the for loop, I'm copying the whatever data is inside of this index or whatever index I'm at into this variable called name. So we copy it down here, and say maybe it's equal to null. That is the only relationship it has. If I change the value of name, it's not going to like send that data back to the array, right? So it's kind of like a one-way street unless you do something to fix that. So we'll get to that in a second. So name is equal to new string s, right? So basically a string that holds the value s. So we can just say it's equal to s. Okay. So now I'm saying that names of I, right? So names of 0, names index is at 0 is equal to this variable, this local variable called name, right? So now I am making that two-way street, right? I'm bringing the data back to the array, right? So I'm copying whatever is in name back to the array at index I, which happens to be 0. So this is s, right? And then I plus plus. And you can imagine that we do the same thing over again, right? Like I copy this empty data into name. Maybe it's null now. Now I assign a new string s to name, and then we're indexing at 1 now. I'm bringing this back, right? So at the end of the loop, right? This will be s, this will be s, and we will have iterated. I guess like I would have been incremented once again, right? And then, of course, once we start running it, once we run out of names, then this for loop concludes, right? So now we are in this try catch block. Okay, what is happening here, right? It looks like we have another enhanced for loop with that it's going to iterate through names, right? And it's going to make another a local variable called name, right? So we can just keep this here, but of course, it's not going to have any value right now. So starting off on the first line, what does this enhanced for loop do? It copies down whatever is in index 0 into name, right? So this is actually equal to s. And what am I going to print out? I'm going to print out name, that local variable. What is the local variable equal to? It's equal to a string that holds the value s. So let's print out s. Okay. So now I'm iterating, right? I'm going back here. I'm iterating. I'm copying this data value into name. And it's s again, right? I'm just going to print out s again. And then you can imagine that I'm going to copy this value into name and then print out name, right? So 3 s's, right? Now, this catch only really activates, right, if you throw an exception. So like what they wanted you to think was that, hey, this is a read only array, or not array, a for loop, right? So there's no way that I could affect this array. with this loop, that's what they wanted you to think, right? But since we have this indexing mechanism, we can actually return some data back to the array. So we're not going to get like some like null pointer error, right? In this for loop, right? I mean, even if the names were null, it would just print out null since the print I guess method has a null checker, right? So if your thing is null, then it'll just print out null. So if anything, if that were truly the case with this for loop, it would have just printed out, null and then three more times, or I guess two more times for three total. That's not what happened though. We were actually able to bring back this name into the array, right? We were able to populate the array, and we were able to print it out. What I'm saying is that this catch never actually runs because we never threw an exception, right? So let's go ahead and look at the practice tests to verify our answer. And yes, because S was never an option, we were going to select none of the other options. I hope that helped.